Hi guys, welcome to this CodeAlong. I'm Philip, and today you and I are going to build this Bootstrap 4 resume template using HTML, CSS, a little bit of jQuery. Actually, SCSS is a CSS preprocessor. You should start using it if you aren't already. And of course, Bootstrap 4. We will need a few other dependencies. Let me show you why. So this is the website we are going to be making. It's a responsive website that works on mobile as well. So the website uses few other dependencies. First, we have these icons. So this is font awesome. Let's just Google it for later. We will need to install it into our project. So font awesome. Open the website here. The other thing we need, if you see this experience tab that we have here, this is the experience tab. We have like this timeline, and we're using this scroll bar here. This is a simple bar plugin. Simple bar. I think this is the right link. Yeah, we can use it here. npm, here it is. So the other dependency we have here, for example, for these animations is jQuery easing. So let's Google that real fast. jQuery easing. Here it is. The other dependency we need is for our portfolio section. As you can see here, we have this filter. This is filterizer plugin. So yeah, it's this one. It works like this. And the last plugin we need, actually this is everything. This is all the plugins we will need. Later we're going to break down this user interface design wise. Let's just for now add everything into our project. So for the project itself, we're going to use start bootstrap template. Excuse me, there is just one last dependency we will need. It is for the portfolio, it's this pop-up. So this is Magnific pop-up plugin. So here are npm repositories of these plugins. We will just use these little install codes to get them up and running. So let's now get our boilerplate code for this project. It's a start bootstrap boilerplate. So start bootstrap is an awesome website full of open source code based on Bootstrap. I've used it for my client work as well. I work as a freelance web designer. So here in templates, browse all templates. We have this bare template. We will just download it. So here it is. I'm going to unpack it, delete the zip, and rename this one into resume. So now I want to add this into my favorite code editor. So just to create a new window here, I'm going to open, excuse me, this is something old. I'm just going to delete it. So this is my code editor, and I'm going to add the resume folder in here. Now I want to open this folder in my terminal so that I can add the dependencies here into this package JSON. I mean, I can write them here, but let's just do it with terminal. If you're on Windows, make sure to use git bash. It's really an awesome terminal. But yeah, I'm on Mac, so I will use this terminal. Now I will go back here and just copy all these. So for font awesome here, I want to take this and copy this and paste it into my terminal. So I'm going to navigate to my project folder, change the directory, downloads, resume, here I am. And now to paste npm install --save FortAwesome free. Now this will add FortAwesome into my package JSON, my configuration of the project. So let's see. Here it is, and it should have been added into my node modules of my project here. So here it is. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. Awesome. Now let's do the same for simple bar. I'm just gonna copy this over to my terminal, paste, and add --save, so I can save it into my configuration. Here for jQuery easings, the same thing. So if I click here, I think this is the right one. So paste -- save. For the magnific pop-up, I will copy this as well. Paste -- save. And for the filterizer plugin, I'm gonna copy this as well. -- save. Now we have all the dependencies we will need in our package.json and installed in our node modules. So in order to make this start Bootstrap boilerplate be able to run, we also have to run npm install. So everything we have included in this works. So here we have a basic development environment included with npm, Bootstrap, and browser sync. It will allow our browser to automatically refresh itself whenever we save the project. It uses latest Bootstrap and jQuery and all the good stuff. So now we want to add all of these node dependencies that are currently in the node module. So we want to add them here into our vendor, because we will never upload these node modules to when we publish this online. So here in our Gulp file, you can see that there is a Gulp task. If we were to write here in our terminal Gulp vendor, it would take these things in these modules functions. Right now, Bootstrap and jQuery. That's why if you open vendor folder, we only have Bootstrap and jQuery here. We want to add our dependencies here so that when we run Gulp vendor, Gulp will take the folders from node modules and put them here into vendor folder. So let's begin with jQuery easing. So I'm going to make another variables here, jQuery easing. I'm gonna say gulp.source crc, and now we need a relative path to jQuery easing. So we can easily copy it here from node modules. Let's just find the jQuery easing here. It's under J, I guess. Here it is. Copy relative path. Okay. So quotes. Let's start with this. Okay, jQuery easing. We're going to target everything inside this folder. Let's just see what we have in jQuery easing. We have a lot of stuff, but let's just take everything from this folder. So this is okay. All right. And after that, we should add .pipe gulp dest, and destination for this is vendor/jQuery easing. Yeah, perfect. Now if we add jQuery easing here into merge, when we run gulp vendor, we will have a jQuery easing whole folder in our vendor folder. Okay, that's not working. Let's see why. jQuery. We forgot the dot here. Is that? Let's see. Yeah, now it works. So it was the dot that we forgot here. Here is the jQuery easing in our vendor folder right now. So we want to do this for all the other dependencies. So let's just copy this maybe. The next dependency is magnific pop-up. Magnific pop-up, okay, in node modules, it's under letter M. So we can just find it here. Here it is, magnific pop-up, copy relative path. Node modules, magnific pop-up. Let's just take everything from there. It's in this dist folder. So we will write it like this: 2 star signs and 1 star sign. So we have everything here. Pipe gulp.dest destination.vendor magnific pop-up. Perfect. We can delete this line. I'll just test it. Gulp vendor. Is it added to our vendor folder? No, it's not. We got something wrong once again. Okay, we have two node modules here. Gulp vendor. Now it's here. Perfect. Okay, I will not copy paste this anymore. Let's just merge them here. Magnific pop up. So the next thing we want to include is simple bar. So simple bar equals gulp.source npm modules, actually node modules, and from here we will take simple bar. So where's the letter S? It's here. Copy relative path. We don't have to write node modules. We can just copy the relative path here. Sorry guys. So dot pipe gulp destination dot slash vendor slash simple bar, and let's just merge it here. Simple bar. Perfect. Let's test it. Is it in here in our vendor folder? Okay, the vendor folder is gone. We got something wrong once again. So it's simple bar here, not simple. So if we run gulp vendor again, here it is. I have our simple bar. And once again, it's not working because here we forgot to add these. Okay, what's the next step? The next step is let's include filterizer from node modules into our vendor folder. It is the last one, so stay here with me guys. So here filterizer, bear with me. So we want to copy the relative path of filterizer here. Here it is. Copy relative path, nice. It's a string here. So dot slash node modules filterizer. Let's just take everything from this folder like this, and then slash pipe gulp dot dest, and we want it to go into our vendor folder as well. So quotes vendor filterizer, and it should be it. Let's just merge it here. And if we run gulp vendor right now, we should have all the dependencies we want inside of our vendor folder. So Bootstrap, filterizer, jQuery using Magnific pop-up and simple bar. We have everything here. Now let's go into our index.html. Actually, the first thing we want to do here in our terminal is to run npm install. Oh, we've actually done that already. Okay, never mind. So let's run gulp watch. And now we have everything here that we want to begin coding. So localhost 3000, this means that we have our auto sync, browser sync ready. So for example, this is the start Bootstrap navbar brand inside of the navigation. If I type Philip here, that's my name, and save it, it automatically gets refreshed here. So we want to delete all of these. We don't need these things here. So inside of our body, we want to delete the whole navigation and this below it. And now we have an empty project. Let's just put a title here to resume. So we have everything we need here. Let's just open developer tools, no errors, that's perfect. So let's include right now, let's reference the scripts we're going to use inside of our index.html. So everything from our vendor folder, we're going to include it into this index.html. So the first one we want is jQuery easing. So from our vendor here, let's just copy. We want this one, jQuery easing minified.js. So copy relative path, script, source. This is jQuery easing. The next one is magnific popup. So this is the one we need in distribution folder. Magnific popup minified, copy relative path, script, source, magnific popup added. The next thing we want is simple bar. So here in simple bar, this simple bar minified, copy relative path, script, source. Okay, simple bar has been added, and the last thing is we want is filterizer. Here dist filterizer, jQuery filterizer minified or minified. Let's just take this because we're using jQuery, so this is what we need. Script, source, jQuery filterizer. We have all the JavaScript we will use. Okay, let's now add a JavaScript folder to the root of our folder resume. So JS, we will use this one, and SCSS, we will use this for our SCSS partials. Also, we want to add a reference to our main JS script. We will do it like this: script, source, JS folder / main.main.js. Right now we don't have this script, but we will add it later. Let's just reference it here so we don't forget later. In our head, we want to add the CSS files here. So we have our Bootstrap already added. That's perfect. We will definitely need that. The next thing we want to add is font awesome icons. So it's here in vendor font awesome. Oh, we actually haven't added font awesome into our Gulp file. So here, let's go back into our Gulp file and add font variable font awesome equals Gulp source, and we do it like this. And then here we go into node modules and take the font awesome. Here it is. We will take the whole folder. So copy relative path, paste it here, just add a dot and slash here, and let's just do the pipe. Gulp destination vendor font awesome. Perfect. So font awesome, it's right here. We should run the Gulp vendor again and Gulp watch again. And inside of our index.html, now we can reference the font awesome inside of our vendor folder. Here it is, font awesome free. We don't have anything, of course, we forgot to add star signs here that take every file from this folder. So yeah, save this back in our terminal, rerun Gulp vendor and rerun Gulp watch. Okay, that should be it. Here in vendor we have our CSS. So we want to include this file, all minified CSS, copy relative path, and in our index.html we will include this CSS like this. So this is font awesome CSS. Okay, I added it. Now we want magnific popup CSS. It's also in our vendor folder here. So it's right here. Magnific popup CSS is here. Copy relative path link. And now we want to add our custom fonts. So we will use Open Sans font, Open Sans, Google font. We will need a light version. So yeah, light italic, regular, and let's take bold. Here we will copy this, paste it into our head of our index file, and now we want to add simple bar CSS. So here, simple bar, this here is the CSS, copy relative path, link, okay. And the last CSS file we want to run is our custom CSS. So in here we will say that we want to add link css root.min.css. We don't yet have the CSS folder. Now we're going to create it. We have an S, so new folder, CSS. Okay, perfect. Let's see if everything works in our browser console here. Developer tools. Okay, we have some errors. We don't have this file. Okay, we have few errors here. That's okay. We will resolve all of them. Let's just add our loop. Let's just comment out these files that we don't yet have. So root minified as CSS and this one, the JavaScript file, we don't have these. Let's just comment them out. Okay, string of undefined is not working for jQuery easings. Maybe we should add jQuery easings later. So here, nope, that doesn't really make sense what I did there, but let's just Google this one. Okay, we need a full version of jQuery, not a slim version. That's okay. I think if we just delete this slim and resave this, that, yeah, perfect. It all works. Now we want to start coding. So yeah, our project is ready to, we are ready to begin coding. There is only one more thing I forgot to tell you guys that you need to do here, and that's we have to update this Gulp file because right now it's not what we want. So please go on into your Gulp file and cut this modules function. We will need it for later. So just select everything, right click, cut, and then go on new file and paste it here and just keep it here for now. Now what we want to do is Google start Bootstrap again, and there's actually a better Gulp file configuration here in Themes already created for us. So for the new age template, for example, go view on GitHub and go in here for this Gulp file. And yeah, this is what we need. Just copy everything here. Perfect. Now just paste it in here. And this is exactly what we wanted to have, except we're going to replace these function modules. So copy this and paste it over this function module, this modules function. Perfect. Save this. You can close this file. Open our terminal, cancel by Control-C. Pressing Control-C, and now let's see if our Gulp file works. So Gulp watch. Okay, our Gulp watch doesn't work. Here, actually, we can go to our package.json and take all of these. Yeah, you just take these dev dependencies from package.json on GitHub here and paste them here. Make sure you don't override the font awesome. Yeah, let's now try running npm install, and after that running Gulp watch should work, and we will have a proper Gulp configuration here. Perfect. Let's see if we have any errors. Okay, no errors. That's awesome. So now here, if we add new SCSS partials into this folder, Gulp will automatically make one CSS file out of them and put it in here. Perfect. Now we're ready to start coding. Good job. Another thing I like to do before I start coding is have a conceptual idea of how I'm going to do it. Just organize my content, my HTML better, and know what are the modules that I'm going to be implementing. So we will focus on this particular page here. For the sidebar that we have here, this will take, I think, 3 large Bootstrap columns, yeah, and this one will take 9 large Bootstrap columns. So inside here we have an image, we have a heading, and we have a navigation bar, and we have a social bar. This background is blue, image is rounded, etc. You get the point. Here we have this one box and 4 small boxes. Inside of this big box we have a heading, a horizontal line, an icon with a subheading that's actually the same size as a paragraph. We'll see later, but this is a paragraph, this is another paragraph. We have this repeating thing here. Here we have 6 same elements. It's this one, it's icon and the text below it. And here in this box we have 2 columns. One in the first column we have an icon, and in the second column we have 2 rows of text. So these are the first things we are going to be implementing. We also need to add photos to our project. I mean, we only use few photos, the profile image and some for your portfolio. I already put a folder with images here. You can download it off of my GitHub, or just put your own photos into the photo folder, into the image folder here. So to begin coding our HTML, we are going to get into our index here. Make sure that Gulp Watch is up and running in your terminal. So type in Gulp Watch. This is our project right now. I will put it here to the right and have the code here. Maybe it will be more fun. So the first section, first we have everything here in a huge wrapper that wraps everything. It's going to be a section. So let's say section wrapper. Inside of it, we'd have a section container. It's a Bootstrap class. The row goes inside of a container. And now we have a sidebar. Sidebar on extra small screens takes 12 columns. On smaller screens, it takes 12 columns as well. On medium-sized screens, it's MD5, and on large screens, it takes 3 columns. It also has a class of text white, a class of sidebar, and a class of background blue. Okay, this is our sidebar here. Inside of it, we need few items. We need a div element of MX Auto to center everything in the middle, like this. Let me just open this, okay. And inside of it, we have an image. Okay, it's a figure element that has a class of profile image with a class of MX Auto. Inside of this figure, we have an image. This is the source to my image. This is the path to my image, and for the alt tag, we will put profile photo here. It's a good practice to put classes first, just to make them easier to find later. So we need image fluid here and rounded circle. These are both Bootstrap classes. Image fluid makes the image responsive, and rounded circle makes the image round. So after that, we need a fig caption with a class of text center. I use tab for autocomplete here. Inside of it, we have an element small with a class of display block. It will make this small element into a block element like this, D block. Inside of it we have Philip, and then here we have my last name. If we save this, we won't be able to see the text because of this text white class here. If we delete this class, you see we have Philip and Rastovich, my last name. If we delete this D block class, I'm just going to show you why we have this D block class here. Sorry. You see these are inline right now because of this small element is an inline element. That's why I tell here that it's a D block element. Display block, now it takes the whole width. I mean, not the whole width, but it's a box, and the box is not inline by default. So we want this text white back here. Okay, now let's just go into let's add our first SCSS partials. So the first and the main SCSS partial here that's going to get compiled into CSS is root SCSS, and in here we will import other SCSS partials, so variables, and right now we only need global. Here we are going to have our global styles. We will also add a sidebar right now. We will use it later. So the other D's, only root starts like this, root SCSS. Other partials will start with an underscore. These partials are going to get ignored by the compiler, and only root will take the root partial will take other partials when these are compiled into CSS. So global SCSS, and the last one was sidebar SCSS. Sidebar SCSS. Here in our global styles, we want to add a class of background blue, and so we will tell the background to be blue. Right now we don't have this variable, so we go back into our variables here and create a few variables. So the first one is blue. It's for A9 OE2, and make it default like this. Also background color, we will say it's E9EDFO. And if we do this, primary blue default, this will override the Bootstrap classes and make Bootstrap primary class to be this blue class. That means here in Bootstrap, if we say that this text is of color primary, it will actually be blue. And if we change this blue here into some other color, let me open the color picker like this, the text will change as well. Okay, it's not changing. Looks like we won't be able to override these Bootstrap classes like this. Why? Because we are loading Bootstrap Oh, I see. Because we are not loading this our CSS file at all. So if we uncomment this, here it is. Bootstrap primary actually overrides other. This code. This overrides the Bootstrap primary class. So we say blue for the background. Now we want to go back into index.html and change this text primary to white. And this background blue class right now is purple because here this didn't, here it is. It wasn't saved. Okay, this is what our interface looks like right now. We want to keep adding our HTML now. So in here, sorry, there are some dogs outside, I can hear them. It's pretty funny. So we want to add the navigation elements we have here and these font awesome icons as well as these social icons. So we will use an unordered list like this and another unordered list here. So let's begin. The first unordered list has a class of list unstyled. It has a class of main menu and a margin top of file. In here we have a list. Inside of a list we have an A element, a link element that has a class of font weight bold and a class of text white because the background is blue. Inside of this A element we actually have 5 of these list elements. So we're going to autocomplete this. So here we should say times 5, and here this is the class. Inside of it we have a font awesome icon like this. So we just created 5 list elements with links inside of them, with font awesome icons inside of them. So for the font awesome icons, what do we have? About me, experience, portfolio, and envelope. This is like a person, a book, a toolbox, and an envelope. So here for font awesome icons, we should say font awesome user tie. Let's just save it and see what happens here. Okay, this is perfect. Now, why is this purple? It looks like because of our cache memory. I just click here to clear my cache. So here it is. This is the first icon we will need. Okay, the other icons here we are going to use are font awesome book, font awesome toolbox, and font awesome envelope. We won't need this line, so you can delete it. Here inside of A, we will write about me, experience, portfolio, and the last thing is contact. So basically, we have our navigation here. It's not styled yet, but this is almost everything we need here. And let's just add the other unordered list. It's this one with social icons. We're going to use font awesome as well. So unordered list, list unstyled, list inline. It has a class of list inline that makes the elements inline, margin top of 3, and the class of text center. Inside of here we again have 4 list items. So we do the shortcut like this. List item times 4. Inside of it we have a tag with an A element with a class of text white, and inside of them we have an icon with a class of font awesome. We actually are going to use this font awesome B thingy because it loads the social icons. Okay. Here we are going to add these icons because we only have icons and no text. So for the icons we want Facebook. Let's see if this works. Nice. So we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn, and we have Twitter. Perfect. So one thing I forgot here are our links. So as you can see it here, we are doing something on clicks. We're going to manage that with our links. So here for graph elements, we're going to add something. So hashtag about me. This is the ID of the sections. Experience, portfolio, and contact. Here we have social URLs. I'm just going to leave these right now like this. So this is what we have right now. Why is this not inline? Because if we are using this list inline, we might need to write this class ourselves. So yeah, let's get into CSS now. We want to create, we have this class sidebar, so we need a CSS partial of sidebar as CSS. Or okay, it already exists, sorry. Are we including it here? We are. Okay, in the sidebar, we will say like this, sidebar, let me bring this code up a bit, okay. In the sidebar, we have a padding of 32 pixels on everything, like this. Perfect. Okay, let's just put it here. So for the image that we have here, we want to use a custom shadow. We can use a Bootstrap shadow, but I just like writing my own. So box shadow for the sidebar image is 1 pixel. So 0 pixels to the right, 1 pixel to the bottom, 32 pixels blur. RGBA 20, 23, 26, and 0.12. This is the shadow. It's nice, subtle shadow. For the fig caption we have for our image, we're going to say that margin top is 32 pixels, font size is 48 pixels, font weight is 600, and line height is 1. And for the small that we have inside of this, we're going to say font size 32 pixels and font weight in characters, so it's 600 as well for the font height. Let me just see if we have added our fonts here. We have. We didn't change the default font family, so we might want to go back and do that first in our global styles. So here in our global, we just add like this: HTML body, font family, open sans, and sans serif. Perfect. For our body, we're going to add background color of white and overflow X hidden. And because we're using these crazy animations here, we might have some problems later with the overflow. So we're going to add here to the body that on min width, a media query, that on min width we're going to hide an overflow of epsilon, like this, or y. Yeah, that's perfect. So the other things we want to add here for our global styles are basically about typography and the style guide. The typography style guide I chose for this particular project. So for the Bootstrap classes, for the headings, we're just going to overwrite them. So we need 6 of these. I'm copying these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then these are these are elements, not classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the paragraph. So here I will change these. You don't have to do this because Bootstrap has a lot of code that already manages typography, but yeah, this is just for this project. I'm not even sure why I wrote these. Yeah, I think this might be This is not unnecessary, but yeah. So this is my style guide. For the H1 font size, I want it to be 48 pixels. For H2, I want it to be 32 pixels. For the H3, I want it to be 24 pixels. And for the H4, I want it to be 20 pixels. For the paragraph, I want it to be 14 pixels. We have a large copy paragraph here of 16 pixels. Small paragraph copy of 14 pixels. A caption of 12 pixels. I'm just going to create a mix in here for text link large. That's font size 16 pixels. These are some utility classes we're going to use over the project, so I will just copy them over from my reference code right now, and hopefully we will remember that we've used them. For our wrapper, because everything here is inside of this wrapper, you see that this wrapper has a shadow. I'm going to add that shadow right now. So it's wrapper, and inside of the wrapper we have container. For that container, we want to add a border radius of 6 pixels and a box shadow of all 1 pixels to the right, 6 pixels blur, ARGBA 000, 27, and another shadow that's just blur around everything in set. And a media query of min width, margin 50 pixels oil. This will ensure that when we are on a bigger screen, we will get a nice margin around everything. Let's just see if it all works. Yeah, I think we're fine. We're good to go here. These are global styles. So another thing we want to add here is a class of blue. That's color blue. I'm not sure if we will use this, but I have it in reference code. Sorry, this is not perfect. So these are global styles we will use throughout our project. So we're finished with it. Let's go back to the sidebar, and for the thick caption and style the main menu. It's this menu. So we have it in a class of main menu. Let's just put this here so it's more fun. Main menu has a list item inside of it. Border bottom 1 pixel solid white. So we want to add these borders here. Perfect. These list items have a padding of 15 pixels up and down and 0 pixels left and right. And the transition, when we hover these, is 0.3 seconds ease out. Perfect. So inside of it we have a link. We want to include some code here. So text link large. We're adding this mix in here and saying that the transition element is inherited. We also have an icon inside of this link that has a margin of 0, 12 pixels, 0, like this. So this is our margin for our menu. It looks like this. It's perfect. So for this menu, I'm not sure why isn't it inline. We have to check it out right now. In here, we said that list unstyled, list inline. Why isn't this working? Let's see. So here we have a list inline, list style none. This is not working for some reason. Let's see here. Why is this inline? Oh, we forgot to add a class of list inline item to every one of these list items. So list inline item, I'm going to use Alt key to do this and add a class of list inline item. Now these items will be inline. Here we go. Perfect. This is awesome. We're getting somewhere. Good job. So our sidebar is complete, which is perfect. Let's now move on to coding this section. So about me, the about me section. First thing we need is this box, I guess. I'm going to resize this so it's easier for us to work. Okay. I hope we can see you can see the code. Now, let me just do it like this. Perfect, perfect. So after this column that takes after this sidebar that takes up 3 Bootstrap columns, we're going to add another element that takes 9 Bootstrap columns. It goes here. So we start here. We say column large 9. I'm just going to add, I think it's a good practice, I'm going to add the classes that this column takes on smaller screens. So we have 12 columns on super small screens, 12 columns on smaller screens, 7 on medium-sized screens, and that's it. Here we have a class of content, a class of about me, and a class active. Inside of this section, as you guys remember, we have a card, and then we have 4 more cards, and inside of the cards we have all these typography icons and lines. So I'm just going to write all the HTML, and then we are going to style that. So right now we are here. That's perfect. And we are adding a card. And this card is about me card. Has a class card and about me. Inside of it we have an H3 element with a sideline, font weight bold, and margin bottom 2. It says about me. Inside of this card, oh yeah, so it turns out this is not a horizontal line. This is probably a pseudo element. We're going to check that out later. I forgot. Sorry. So if you save this, refresh it here. The card, we just made a card. So to continue coding the card, we're going to add a label. We're going to add a label. Here, as you can see, about me and this line, we have this icon and subtitle here. It's like a little label. So we will say label, title, MB2. And inside of it, we have a class of font awesome. Nice. If you save this, you can see here it is. And this is like a class for coding. And inside of here, I'm going to say web developer designer. Perfect. Here we have a paragraph. We can put lorem ipsum inside of that paragraph. And below it, we have another paragraph. Let's just put lorem ipsum inside of it and just make it a bit smaller. You don't have to copy the same exact code, but yeah, you get what I mean. It's this right now. So yeah, perfect. We have 2 paragraphs. After that, we repeat this, and then we put these. So right now we are here. We say h3 with a class of sideline, font weight bold, and margin top 3. This is the h3, and inside of here we are writing hobbies and interests. That's perfect. Now we're creating a row. So it's basically a row inside a row, because we want to create a new Bootstrap column inside of these. So we will say it like this. Here inside of this row that also has a class of interests, we will write this. We need a div. We need actually 6 divs. Every one of these divs has these classes. So on small screens, it's 4 columns wide. On medium screens, it's also 4 columns wide. On large screens, it's 2 columns wide. Its text is centered, and a margin top of 3. This is it. These are these wrappers. We will use them here. And inside each of one, I'm going to undo it here and just create what we have inside of them. We have an icon, and next to that icon we also have a div. So, and actually not a div but a h6 tag, so like this. And inside of it we have an icon and an h6 tag like this. Perfect. We now have everything we need to create these. Okay, so the first icon is, okay, I will undo everything here again, and just here I want to add a class of font awesome, and to this h6 I want to add a class of font weight bold. It just saves a lot of time. Perfect. Now to add these classes here, these are my interests. You can change these interests. Guitar, margin bottom 3. I have to make this code a bit smaller, it's too hard on the eyes. The video is HD, you will be able to see it. So guitar, font awesome book, font awesome desktop, font awesome gamepad, and font awesome plain. Okay, the icons should be there. Perfect, we have all the icons except for the gamepad. It's gamepad, not gamepad. Nice. Okay, we have all the icons there, and for our h6 outdoors, guitar, books, computers, and game dev, these are my interests, and travel. Perfect. This is what we just made. It's how this looks on mobile. And yeah, we should go right now and style these cards to make... Actually, let's first create these cards as well, because when we add styles for these, this will get styled as well. I mean, they will share some styles, such as shadow and margins and things like that. So let's first write HTML for these cards as well. So here, 1, 2, 3, we begin after this card. So this is all one card, and we will now create another row, and inside of that row, a Bootstrap row. It's this row. It's this row. We will have 4 more cards. So we are creating a div. We are creating a div with a class of row and the margin top of 5. Inside of it, we have 5 cards, so 5 columns. Each of these columns is 12 columns wide on mobile, 6 columns wide on small screens, 6 columns wide on medium screens, and 3 columns wide on large screens, and it has a margin bottom of 3. How many of these do we need? We need 4 of these. Okay, times 4, yeah. Inside of each of these, we have an icon, a text, and some more text. We're going to do it like this. So we need 4 of these. Inside of each, we will have a div with a class of card, a class of a card stats. This is a modifier. So this card will have all the style. This card will have all the same styling as this card only, and this class, this card will have a class of card that shares the styles of the big card, this one, but it also has a modifier that makes it unique for this purpose. So we are going to use flexbox in these cards. So display flex. We're going to add a class of flex row and align items center. Inside of this class, inside of this div, we have an icon with a class of font awesome, and the div that's a text wrapper for these elements. We're going to put it inside of a text wrapper. So text wrapper. Inside of this, we have an h5 with a class of font weight bold, margin left 3 and margin bottom 0, and a paragraph with the class of margin left 3 and margin bottom 0. Now we press tab and we get basically almost everything we need. Perfect. Look how much code we've made in only like 1 line. If we save this, check this out. Yeah, we don't have the key shortcodes for these icons. Let's add them. So the first one here is a word, margin left of 2. Then in here we want users. Here we actually have to put fire check circle. And for the last card, we want to add S fa wrench. So yeah, perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. So let's now fill out these H5 tags with some stats. 7 years of experience, 30 clients, 37 projects, and available for work. So yeah, experience, delivered, satisfied clients, projects delivered, and available for hire. Perfect. This is exactly what we wanted to make. Now let's style these. Everything here will be in the card element. So we have to go here in our root and import a card. You have to go here and create a card element. Perfect. Now what is our card made of? What are the styles of our card? So we have a card class. It has a padding of 25 pixels on all sides. We have a border color of transparent, a box shadow that's all 1 pixel, 32 pixels, blur, RGBA 20, 23, 26, and 0.12. We have a transition here of all 0.3 seconds cubic Bezier. Whoops, excuse me. Okay, border radius is 3 pixels for our card, and the background color is card background light. So we don't have this variable right now. We're going to add it. Card background light is white. Okay, this is what we get. Perfect. Inside of each of our cards, we have a paragraph, and we want to say that the last of type has a margin bottom of 35 pixels. This will add a little margin here. We also want to style our subtitles. I'm not sure why the class is title, but yeah, blue. And the icon inside of them is this. It's this part. The icon inside of them has a margin right of 5 pixels. Perfect. So to continue here, we have to style hobbies and interests and these cards below them. So we have a wrapper class of interests here. In our HTML, we're just going to add the code for the class interests now. So interests, each of these interest cards here take 2 columns on mid. Each of these cards here, this is just super subtle. This is just so for the interest. To continue here, we want to change the color for these icons. I think we can actually do it inside of here. So if we say that these icons, no, not all icons, but if we come here and select these icons, yeah, it's actually, yeah, these icons. I'm using Control D to select these, and I think if we write in here color blue, we will add a color to these icons. No, maybe text primary. Yeah, perfect. All the icons are now blue. We want these icons to have, so inside of the interests section, we will target this icon, select these icons and say font size of 30 pixels. Perfect. This is what we wanted. So for our card here, we will write is &//stats. And when it gets compiled, this ampersand just gets compiled to this. But right now we can make it like this. So to style these cards to the bottom, as you can see right now, they are not very consistent. We have to write some code to make them appear the same. So we will say a padding of 15 pixels, 10 pixels. And now to style the icons. Icons are all font size 30. And the paragraphs inside of these cards are font size 12 and of color blue. Okay, oh, this is perfect. Looks like here we are not super responsive, but yeah, this is not a perfect project. You can make it perfect though. So as you can see right now, we don't have the lines. We don't have these lines. We're going to add these. And maybe some other things. Yeah, I see this is not very bold. So we will search for this in our HTML. And just add a font weight of bold here. Perfect. So right now we want to add some more code for this. We want to create these lines. So let's get back into our CSS and create these lines. Inside of a card, we will have, actually, let's make it here. It's not inside of a card. So we have a sideline. Overflow is hidden. And we just have some pseudo elements. So before and after. Background color is black. Content is empty. Display is inline block. Height is 1 pixel. Position is relative. Vertical line is middle. And the width is 50%. Before is right. It has a margin left of -50%. And the after left is 0.5 margin right of -50%. Perfect. Looks like here for hobbies and interests, we forgot to add this sideline. Okay, yeah, this should be perfect. So the other thing we need here, I guess, is to add some background color into this whole section. So let me check why right now it's not white. So what makes it, oh, I see. What makes it white here? What makes, right now, as you can see, this should be gray. This background color should be gray, like here. So let's just see what makes it gray. It's content. It's a content class. So where is our content class? Is it here? New. Okay, we have to introduce a new partial called content. So you can add it here, content as CSS. And we are going to write some styles for the content right now. So the content, I think we already added this class to our HTML. Yes, we have. So the content, it has a padding of 20 pixels, 15 pixels, background of content background light, and display of none. we also want to create a content element that has an element that has a class of content. If it has a class of active, it will have a display of block. By default, it won't be displayed. That's why we see this, and we want to be able to see the other parts. So other styles we need here for the content is one media query that will get shown when we are not on mobile. So here we will have a fixed height, a padding, and an animation. That's 0.3 seconds is one slide in from right. Now we are going to create this animation. So slide to right is an animation class. It's a class with an animation here that will be is one slide to right. This content, the active content, I'm not sure why we have these two. I'm not sure right now why we have both of these, but let's just write them. I'm copying the code from the reference, some code that I've written a few months ago. So let's begin writing our animation. Keyframes, slide to right, 0% transform, translate X, and for the 100%, it's transform, translate X, 120%. And keyframes slide in from right, we have 0%, transform, translate X, like this, and transform, translate XO. So this is how CSS animation works. 0% is when the animation begins, 100% is when the animation stops, and between this and this will happen. So if we are beginning on the X value for the if we are beginning on the 0 value for the X-axis and ending on 120 pixels, 120% for the X-axis, we will go to right. And if we are beginning on 120% and moving back to 0%, we will slide like this. So we get this effect, and that's what you've seen here. So yeah, that's the animation, and that's it. Now, why are we not having this nice padding here? So content has a padding. Yeah, for some reason right now we are not getting this padding here. I'm not sure why. Oh. Yeah, another thing we forgot to add here is simple bar. So because we're using, yeah, the reason why we don't have the padding here that we need is that because we haven't added the simple bar data attribute. So the about me section here should have this data simple bar. We will figure this out later. Yeah, one thing we forgot to do is import our content partial. So content.css here. Now if we go on and save something, if we go on write on a comment here or something like that, delete it. Okay, I just included the content here and saved, and it looks like we have an error inside of our content. So content background light, content bg light, we don't have this variable. We have to create one in our variables. So let's say here, and what are the, and the color to this variable is this one. It's F8, F9, F8. Perfect. And yeah, finally we're getting somewhere. Why do we have this? Looks like we have some more errors here and there. Not sure why. Let's see if we've missed another thing here in our root partial. We might want to add content before card. Okay, nothing changed. Yeah, perfect. We have that nice animation when we refresh, but something's wrong here. I think this text is too big, yeah. Let's see why. Here, font size is 16 pixels, and here are we using H5? Yeah, but font size is not 16 pixels. So I think here in global for H5, we have to change something. Yeah, for some reason we don't have an H5 here. So H5 font size 16 pixels. Perfect. Here this about me is not bold. So font weight bold. Okay, this is another error we have. Perfect. Why is this not, its height is not big enough? We're also lacking a shadow here. So let's inspect this and see. So this is a shadow on a wrapper container. I think it's here. No. This is a shadow for wrapper container. We have to set it to this. So we will get that shadow up and running. Okay, still no shadow. y container, yeah, that sucks. So container was wrongly spelled, but now this is up and running and it's working just the way we wanted. So the about me section should be over now. If we refresh it, we get that nice